Straight Outta Fresno podcast, episode 6. I appreciate you guys tuning in for every single episode so far. A lot of views, a lot of feedback, so I appreciate it all. I think we're over 600 plays on, across 5 episodes so far. So thank you guys. Thank you for the continued support. It's definitely appreciated. We got a couple special guests here. I'm very excited to have them on board. I've been, when I came up with the podcast, they were the first couple people I thought of, bringing on as guests. Love what they're doing. We got from the Chill Suite, we got Dennis Horn, and we got Paul Karuki, a.k.a. DJ Yelo, a.k.a. DJ PDK. How y'all doing?
What's going on, man?
Wonderful, man.
Thank
Wonderful.
you for having us, man.
Yeah, man. We're excited for this.
Yeah, no, of course, we got to support. You guys are doing great things, locally, with the Chill Suite. And we'll get obviously into what the Chill Suite is. I guess you guys can go ahead and talk about it. What is the Chill Suite for people that may not have heard before?
Man, I can give a little background on it. It's definitely seen a couple of iterations at this point, but I want to say 2014, I had the opportunity to host a radio show on local radio. I've never done radio before, but it was something that I kind of jumped head first into because I had free reign over what I could do. And so I knew being a lover of R&B and soul music, my show was going to be about that. So that went on for several months and maybe even a year, I'm not sure, but I called it the Chill Suite, and it kind of, gained a little popularity. There was one particular time where the equipment wasn't working in our local radio station. It was a little lower budget operation. So I decided to stream on Facebook Live, and that's kind of how we started doing like a live stream of the show versus a recorded version of it. And and from there it just I separated from the station, and Paul and I picked back up several months later doing it together, like at home, I think, right?
Started at home, and then we were out at the barbershop for a minute.
That's right. We were in the shop
and having a good time over there. So yeah, man. And just like anything else, I felt like, it was awesome from the jump. But then once I came on board, we kind of figured out a format that worked for us. And before you knew it, we had sometimes 1,000 people.
Yeah, we had lots of views
viewing on Facebook.
Yeah.
So we were feeling pretty good about ourselves for a minute, and feeling good about the show, and then became a live event. So man, it's been really cool to see the maturation of this thing.
Yeah, it just all centered around our love for that particular genre of music, and we centered that in everything that we did, no matter what the format was. So that's kind of carried us, to the point we're at now.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. And let's talk about where your love of music comes from, specifically, the R&B, the soul genre. You guys are a couple years older than me, but I feel like our generation especially is very in tune with, neo soul and kind of just with soul music in general. I don't know if it's just, what we grew up listening to on the radio and the albums that, our parents had that we listened to, but where did that love come from for you guys?
Man, for me, I'd say there's a few different sources. To start at home, my mom was a Motown, lover of Motown, man. Stevie and Smokey and the Supremes and Michael Jackson and the Temptations and all that good stuff. So I grew up on the best of the best. And my father, who was a pastor, believe it or not, he loved some secular music too. But he loved the clean stuff, So when I was at home and Dad was playing music, it was the Babyface.
Really?
The Tony Braxton, the Boys to Men, the clean cut stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But I grew up in West Fresno, and when I went outside, then I got the more real, the more hood stuff. So at home it was Babyface, but outside it was R. Kelly. At home it was Boys to Men, but next door at Grandma Bertha's it was Jodeci. So I started to get some of that stuff too. And so I think that's where it probably started for me. And then growing up, I was blessed to have a couple of friends who really love music and whose parents love music. And I got introduced to other stuff along the way. good stuff like Will Downing and Keith Washington, and just different things that, you know, different folks put me on along the way. And so, yeah, man, I've always loved soul music. And I think church too. Like church was a big influence early on, just in terms of developing that ear for soul and that ear for really good singing. And so I'd say a combination of all of that, man, but a few different sources there.
Yeah, I mean, I could piggyback on that the church element, because that's where it all started for me, because my parents did not listen to a lot of music at home. I think it was just they were really paranoid about what they exposed us to.
Gotcha.
We were sheltered, you know, but sometimes I'd hop in Dad's car and it was SWV, it was En Vogue, it was MJ, it was Janet, you know, because my dad was a musician growing up, extensive music collection, and I got it from there. I got it from church, you know. Church ain't nothing but soul music about God, you know what I mean? Right. So, and then as I grew older, you know, kind of gravitate to hip hop, and then hip hop started really sprinkling in a lot of R&B and soul. And for me, it was a bridge, you know. So I really fell in love like deep with R&B and soul in middle school. And that was around the time that neo soul was really taking off, the Erica, the Jill, the music, Soul Child. And, you know, from there, I just couldn't get enough.
Yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope. I mean, just like how we talked about, usually it comes from kind of our parents. You know, our parents have certain albums that they listen to. They put us on. For me, ironically, I still love smooth jazz because that's what my parents played. You know,
word.
Smooth jazz 96.7. That was always, you know, on the radio station. So, you know, you just you know, end up loving those artists, not even knowing their names or knowing the names of the songs, but just like you hear, you know, that rhythm, and that's what you connect with.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So let's go back to, you know, I guess the induction of the Chill Suite. Dennis, you know, with you kind of, you know, leading that, how do you establish a platform that doesn't exist, you know, locally? Talk about some of the difficulties of, you know, just jumping in and saying, okay, this is what I like, I'm gonna roll with it, but it doesn't exist. I don't have anywhere to look, you know, for guidance or anything like that.
That's a good question, man, because I was definitely clueless jumping into it, but I kind of met some really cool folks through networking, and they showed me some things that were similar and related that they were doing, and introduced me to, you know, venue owners and other DJs, and I'm like, hey, what do you guys think? Can we do something like this? You know, this goes back to a previous event that we did together called Vibe Soul Lounge. You know, that was like the precursor to the Chill Suite back in 2014, or before that even. And, you know, I was thinking like Fresno was a big enough market to support an event like this. Like, we may not have the largest community of R&B and soul listeners, which is predominantly the Black community, but I shouldn't have to go to LA. I shouldn't have to go to the Bay Area to hear this. And I know other people are feeling like this. So, you know, we were fortunate to establish a relationship with the venue we worked with for a long time, which is Fulton 55. And the GM there, Tony Martin, got to shout him out because he gives us nothing but love, shows us nothing but love, and he's made a lot of what we do possible. And he kind of took a chance on what we wanted to do. Gave us some off nights at first, you know, some Sundays and some Thursdays, and, you know, we took it and it just kind of grew from there. So it was really, you know, it was hard work for sure, just getting in people's face, letting them know like, hey, we do something like this and it's classy and it's, you know, professionally done, or appears to be, you know, we report ourselves as professionals. But yeah, man, I mean, that's kind of how that all started. And it was really just because we wanted something for us initially, you know, we wanted to feed our souls, and if other people got fed at the same time, you know, that was a bonus.
To piggyback on that, he mentioned Vibe Soul Lounge, which was an event that we ran for 4 years.
Yeah.
And we ran that event almost the entire time out of Fulton 55. And man, for 4 years, we had great shows. never any issues. It was always classy and a great crowd, and not one fight, not one anything in 4 years. So when we stopped,
positive.
Yeah, no, it was great, man. And when we stopped doing it, it was, I want to say maybe a couple years later, that Tony from Fulton 55 came to us and was like, hey, man, we got to have you guys back. Yeah. Like, we miss you guys. We loved your show. You guys brought out a great crowd. Yeah. You got a great audience, and they came, and they always respected our house and treated it well, and they drank good, and we love you guys. We need you back. Right. So when that happened, it was like, okay, let's put this Chill Suite thing and put some things on the board and see what we can put there. But I say all that to say, like, when you build up a reputation and when you're able to, I guess perform with a certain level of excellence over time, sometimes they come calling for you. And we were kind of chilling and not really trying to make it happen. And it more so came to us because of what we had done with our event prior to Chill Suite. So it was a blessing, and it worked out.
Yeah, no, that's major to have people reaching out to you like, hey, how can you guys, come back? How can we get you guys involved? What can we do for you, as opposed to, what can you do for us? So that's major. That's definitely major.
I will add too that it meant a whole lot too, especially because when we first started, there was uncertainty around the model.
Yeah.
Because typically this community or this city does not support events like that. Like, and that's just business, right? So they took a chance, and they were unsure. We proved to them, that we can support an event like that. So that made it even more sweeter.
Yeah, dope. And yeah, shout out Fulton 55. I love the ambiance. I feel like the ambiance is perfectly in line with what the Chill Suite is about. So I couldn't think of a better venue in town to host a Chill Suite at.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about that transition, because you guys mentioned, the kind of during the backstory of transitioning from, Facebook Live to now being, a live and in-person experience. What was that like? What experience or what challenges did you guys experience during that transition, if any?
One of the biggest challenges to transitioning is getting people out on a night that is not necessarily a going out night. So it was easy for folks to watch us on a Wednesday night while they're folding clothes, getting ready for the next day, helping the child with homework,
cooking dinner.
But it was tough to get folks out. This is not a larger market. So people have a more settled way of life. It's not metropolitan. It's not like constantly going. So people, definitely had trouble finding their way to us on a Wednesday or a Thursday night. But again, the model proved itself again. And we were blessed to be able to start our live events on weekend nights, which proved to be wildly successful. I mean, wildly may be an exaggeration, but compared to our numbers on weeknights, we did much better.
Yeah,
I think another adjustment was the format, because what you do for a Facebook Live audience is a little different than what you do for an audience that's in the house with a drink in their hand wanting to get up and dance. So, I think as DJs, we had to make some adjustments and understand, like, okay, we probably got to talk a little less, and maybe we don't need to do as many segments and, different things like that, and just kind of make it, I don't want to say more of a party, but just make it more of a club-like atmosphere. Of course, we still try to stay true to our soul and neo soul and R&B, but it's definitely a lot less ballads and a lot less, really, really slow stuff, because people are kind of out to have a good time, and you got to make sure that that's happening. So, I think to some degree we had to change the format and even what we play sometimes a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. No, that's what's up. Let's talk about the current state of music in general. We can focus specifically on neo soul and on R&B. What do you guys think about the current state of R&B? Who are some of the people that you guys are checking for that kind of are in tune with what you guys want to put out and what you guys love as far as music goes?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start.
Go ahead, man.
The current state of music. I don't think I'm one of those folks like, okay, R&B is dead. I think it just takes on kind of a new shape, you know, a new form. Of course, our R&B growing up in the '90s and the 2000s didn't sound like our parents' R&B. You know, you can feel like where the influence was, but I think it's definitely a new iteration of it now. So some of the artists I really like, they definitely uphold some of the principles or the sound of the past. You know, one comes to mind right now is Lucky Day. He's an artist that I really love. I love his vocal ability. I love his songwriting abilities, and it reminds me of what we grew up on, but also with like a new twist, because there's definitely distinct types of R&B now. You know, some's really mellow, some's like that trap soul sound, and you know, those are the artists that I check for that kind of remind me of the origins of R&B and not just some offshoot that doesn't really resemble what we grew up on.
Yeah. I feel like right now it's in a much, much better place than probably where we were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm starting to hear a lot of really, really good stuff. A lot of really, really good voices are coming back, and it's becoming popular again to like really be able to sing. So it's exciting. I have to say this, and I'm not proud of this as a DJ, but life has gotten so busy that I don't get to sit down with music and just go through albums and, back to back to back like I used to. But still, I'm stuff still comes to me, and I'm impressed. I think about like artists like her.
Sure.
She's really killing. Snow Allegra, I did sit down with her album recently, and that's fire pretty much front to back. A lot of females doing their thing right now. Even Ella May, and just a lot of really, really hot stuff. I'm enjoying some of the R&B and soul that's coming out now, because I felt like we went through a drought where it's like, gosh, man, this guy can't sing. What is he singing about? And
everything
sounded the same.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We probably had a good, I feel, 4 or 5 years of that. And there was some stuff in there that I liked too. I'm not saying it was all whack, but it just feels good to hear like some real music with some real musicians and some real vocalists coming back and doing their thing. I think all along, some of the OGs had still been doing their thing, but just to hear some new voices and some new artists, that's refreshing.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot. I feel like there's a lot more talent, and there's a concerted effort to present R&B artists to the world.
Right.
Obviously sometimes you get put on the spot and it's hard to think of people. So I had to pull up the recent playlist I've been rocking with. I think about artists like Sir. Think about artists like Sabrina Claudio. Ari Lennox is amazing. Sebastian Michael is a new artist. He's on the way up. Masego, the internet. Like there's amazing artists that really they honor the past of R&B with what's current as well, and that's there's a lot of that going on now, and I really appreciate whether it's record labels or independent marketing, whatever is going on.
I think a big difference between the R&B that we grew up on versus the R&B today is all of our R&B was so mainstream and so huge and so popping, and it wasn't like weird for you to be listening to Snoop Dogg on the radio 1 second, and then the next record is Tyrese's Sweet Lady, and it's like it didn't feel weird to hear someone singing a slow song about love on the radio. Whereas today, like, there's a lot of great R&B out there, but it's not as mainstream. It's not as in your face. It's not, and you kind of got to dig a little bit more for it. So those artists are out there, and that great music is out there, but it's a matter of how do you get to it, and how does it get to you? So
exactly. I mean, I think for me and my wife, for example, she put me on to Janae Aiko, years back. But I would consider her mainstream, but at the same time, her hits that are on the radio are not her greatest hits. You know what I mean? Like,
Real
it's
talk.
just what can people dance to? What's catchy? But her best work is actually on her albums. If you go listen to her entire album. To piggyback, Paul, where you said, there was a drought about 5 years ago. For me personally, I think it might even go a little further back. We're probably thinking maybe like 08, 09 to maybe like 2015 or so. Because for me, I think that was kind of like the mixtape era. And it was all about, what R&B artists were really putting out mixtapes like that, and be able to get, a drastic following. During that time, Lil Wayne kind of ruled the world, in the rap game. And I think a lot of people were just pushing out, mixtapes. It was a matter of just getting out as much music as possible, not the best music possible. And I think that definitely had an impact on the world of R&B.
I think another thing that really helps is just the advent of streaming services. Like, you don't have to wait for your label to put stuff out, and it has to go through all these channels in order for it to get approved for radio. Like radio, I'm gonna say radio is dead because I'm not maybe the target market for radio, so I ain't gonna say it has no place. But for me, everything I find is on a streaming service, and all those algorithms will drive you to the music that you like. So, if I'm, her, like, I don't need a commercial. I don't need banner ads on the internet because when somebody's listening to Sir, her album is gonna come up at some point, So I think that has a lot to do with how R&B is coming to the forefront, because people who really want it and who wanted it all along have a much easier time finding it.
Yeah, I think we value authenticity as an artist much more, I think, now, and that's probably because we've gotten to see our artists be more authentic, whether it's through social media or whether it's through their music. Like Dennis, like you said, not having to worry about the label, holding you up and saying, well, push this agenda out. We need, this kind of music going out. We get to actually see, kind of intimate details of, Janae Aiko, of her, of Sir, and all these other artists. And I think people really rock with that. It's never really been like that, I think, on that level, at least during our generation.
No, it really hasn't. And, social media definitely plays a huge role too. So,
yeah.
I think one more thing too is, like, the 90s is so popping right now. And I mean, I feel really old because all these joints that I loved as a kid, that were on the radio as a kid, are now being sampled, and some new artist is remaking it.
And you feel like that song ain't even that old.
And I'm like, it's not that old to us,
right?
Because we're old, But like, it's like, just, I think the babies who grew up on Mary J. Blige, and the babies who grew up on, Jodeci and all those great artists from the 90s are now at an age where it's their turn, and they're bringing that into their music, and they're giving us their own stuff, which is great too. So yeah, man, it's cool to see some of that great stuff coming back.
All right, so let's talk about, obviously all of us, running the Chill Suite, running straight out of Fresno, it's not our primary job. It's not how we make all of our income. So let's talk about, how do you guys run, this platform still, so successfully, and put so much time into it while still, being a family man? Like, I know, Dennis, you're engaged. Paul, you're married, one baby already, baby on the way. And you all have day jobs. So how do you guys balance that?
I know for me, man, it really comes down to, I just think you make time for the things, and I'd say even more so than the things, the people that you love. And it is challenging at times, but like, I genuinely love this dude right here. Like, this is my brother right here. So it becomes easy because it's like, I want to go rock with my brother, So even after I'm getting out of practice and I'm dead tired, and I got to rush home to take a shower, to change, to get over it, like, I'm glad to do it because it's my brother, And I think I'm blessed that I have that kind of going for me in every capacity. Obviously, I love my family, but even when it comes to the coaching thing, like I'm blessed to be over wonderful girls who come from wonderful families, but then like I genuinely love the coaches I coach with. So I think if any one of those things were kind of like a strain, and with people that I didn't really care about, it probably wouldn't be doable. But the fact that I genuinely love the people I'm working with when it comes to all those different things, it makes it doable.
Yeah, I agree. The passion, I think, is probably the thing that carries us through, because we really do love like each other, and we love this music thing. So Absolutely. We're gonna make it work no matter what. I think that's what drives us. That's what allows us to continue doing it, even when there's other things that we could be paying attention to, or the other social things is what I'm saying. Like, we don't go to the clubs. I mean, you mentioned earlier we old. So I mean, that's our opportunity to get out and be social. And then what's beautiful about it is when we get out there to the chill suite, everybody in there, that are repeat, attendees, that's family. Like that feels like family in there because we have this common thread, right? And I think, obviously, a lot of who we see in there is us, and there's not a lot of arenas in our city where it's just us in there, or a good contingent of Black folks together. So it just feels like family. We have the commonality of loving the R&B and soul music, and I get to rock with my brother, the best man in my wedding. So it's all love all around.
Absolutely. I think the other thing that he kind of touched on too is like, although it's some work producing it, and although it's some work, making it happen, once it's happening, it's fun, and for years, Vibe, going back to Vibe Soul Lounge, that was like my night out once a month, and then once I met my wife, that was like our night out once a month, and now the chill suite has kind of become that. It's a little tougher now that we've got the babies, and sometimes wifey has to stay home, but still it's like I get this night once a month to get out, to hear some good music, to listen to my man do his thing, to see my peoples, to have a couple of drinks. And it's some work putting it all together, but once it's happening, it's fun. Like, we genuinely enjoy it. So man, it makes it all worth it.
And we would be remiss too. Like, our team is family, right?
Real talk.
Beyond P and I.
What up, Sandra?
Sandra, she's our everything woman. Like, I mean, she does take photos at our event, but like, she's there to assist us and to contribute in every way. And we would be super remiss if we didn't mention DJ 100K, who was our little sister. And she gets down, if not nasty.
She's better than both of us.
She's nastier than both.
She's better than both of
us. She is nice. She's very nice.
We got her by like 10 years. And so she's got her ear to the street a little more. So she's all constantly putting us up on game. And she's definitely a more talented technical DJ than we are. So, we look up to her in a way, and we really depend on her, and we love working with her as well. So, our whole team is family, and that just makes it easy.
Yeah. One thing I love about you guys, and you guys have had multiple, guests on the Chill Suite, other DJs and stuff, kind of presenting their playlists and what they're vibing to as well. I appreciate it that you guys also share that platform for other people to come in and say, well, this is what I'm rocking with. Let me put you on to something. Although, it's your platform, you could easily say, well, nah, we're going to play what we want, during our time. Talk about, how important that is for you guys to, include, local DJs as well, and take their influence and apply that to your show.
Totally this man's idea. He had the idea for what we call the Soulful Seven. And this guy is so well connected, and more times than not, when it comes to meeting with folks, and when it comes to the venue or artists or DJs coming in, like that's all him. And it just goes again to kind of speak to his character and his standing with folks. But yeah, he ran it by me, and I was like, man, that'd be dope, like we are as excited to hear someone else and what they like and what they want to do, as anybody else. So I thought it was a really, really cool idea. And it just gave us a chance to connect with some other folks. And then another thing, which was an added benefit too, is it introduced their crowd, it introduced their following to our event. So it kind of worked there. And there were some folks who came in with different DJs who kind of stuck. And they're like, man, we like this. This is dope. And they probably would have never came if it wasn't for their DJ being there that night to show love to them. But once they came, they got in the building and they saw the ambiance and were feeling like it became a thing that they continued to do and kind of, they just stuck. So that was a really added bonus for us too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great what you guys are doing, because kind of similar to like how we're doing now, it's sharing a platform, find ways to put each other on, to continue to move each other forward is definitely what we need in Fresno. I think that's something that our generations may not have really seen kind of coming up, especially as we're pursuing new avenues and it's kind of uncharted territory. Okay, let's try to support each other. What can we do to help, to advance the culture, advance the movement? So I definitely think that's great what you guys are doing for sure.
Thanks.
All right, so let's talk about you guys specifically, because if anyone's ever been to the Chill Suite, they can immediately notice the chemistry that there is between you guys. I mean, you guys, just like Paul, just like he said, best man in your wedding, that chemistry shows. So how important is that to the success of the Chill Suite?
Man, you're telling us. We
this is brotherly love, man.
Yeah, like we just kind of go and do our thing and enjoy the music. I enjoy listening to his set. His set's always better than my set, but he usually enjoys listening to my set too.
That's true.
And I never really thought about what you're saying right now, like the way you view us and our chemistry. Like that's not really something I've ever given any thought to, but I'm glad that you see that, and I'm glad that you feel that, man. That feels good, because it definitely is genuine, love, and that I think that's part of why this event is successful. It's just good people all the way around, like he mentioned, not just us, but also Hunted and my sis Sandra. Just great people who are all trying to work together to make something great happen for other great people, and yeah, so I'm glad that you see that, man. That feels good.
Yeah, that's really dope too. And what's interesting about mine and Paul's relationship is like we didn't grow up together
at all. Yeah,
like we met each other like maybe 6 years ago, like a little over 6 years ago.
Yeah,
and it was like an instant connection. I think it was really dope, because the little we knew about each other, it was like we had a lot of things in common. And this music thing was first and foremost, especially as we were starting to get things off the ground. And, we have been running since, man. Like this has been my ace, my brother since then. And like to know that we have this type of chemistry, like we didn't plan that. So that's really dope, man. I'm glad our teamwork is effective. and
real talk.
Shows,
And I would say this, you're blessed and you're lucky if you can run into some good people along the way, and it's also a blessing to have discernment to know when you ran into a good person. And right away, like I knew this dude was a man of character, a man of integrity, someone I trusted, someone that I was like, if he's doing it, it's going to be legit. If he's doing it, it's going to be right. If, it's going to be well run, it's going to be classy, it's going to be respectful. I don't mind attaching my name to it if his name's on it. So, when you run across that sometimes it's a good idea to make sure that you stay tight with that person and you connect with that person and do right by that person, because you don't run into those type of people all the time, and I recognized in him right away, beyond a good businessman and beyond a good DJ and beyond all that, just a good dude, a good friend. And I said, yeah, this is someone that, I want to be cool with, I want to be tight with. And if I can, honestly, I had no plans of DJing. That's another part of our relationship that probably should be thrown out there.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, he started Vibe Soul Lounge, and the very first show that he did, I wasn't able to attend because my dad was dying at the time, and so I was dealing with all of that. But the second show, I came to that, and I was just blown away. I was like, oh my God, man, this was unlike anything I had ever experienced in Fresno. I didn't feel like I was in Fresno. Again, it was in Fulton 55, and the music was on point. He was DJing, and good looking people, and it was classy, and no drama, no nothing. So I came to him like, yo, man, any way I can support, any way I can help, let me know, bro. Like,
I got a job for you.
I'm willing to set up tables if you need me to spread the word or pass out. Like, I'm coming on some, let me just take something off your plate type stuff. And he's like, well, why don't you DJ? And I'm like, DJ? Like, what? I'm not a DJ. But that's how I got my start DJing. So, and we knew we had a relationship prior to that. And that's why I was coming to the event. And he knew I had a love for music, and I had a decent, music library and catalog. So, I feel that's probably why he extended that invite. But I had no plans of DJing at all. And he kind of put me on, and I've been coming in second place ever since, man.
Bro.
Yeah, man.
That's great. I forgot about that too.
Man. That's how it all jumped off. So
yeah, that's dope.
That's wild that, never having DJ before, and then all of a sudden here you are, and that's how the Chill Suite came to be. That's pretty wild. So Dennis, let's talk about how you got into DJing. Where did that come from?
You know what? I'm gonna do another shout out, man, because somebody did to me like I did to Paul. Like,
okay, I never heard this.
They threw me in the water. You know how you ever see those videos of how they throw babies in the water and they learn how to swim?
I did one last week.
Yeah, so I had a friend, the boy Mayo. I feel like you came that night.
I did come.
Yeah. So my friend, DJ Miss Soulflower, she's known locally. She produces a lot of events, tributes, and brunches. Beautiful events, beautiful people, beautiful music. Like, I was kind of like tagging along with her, doing what Paul wanted to do for Vibe Soul Lounge. I'm helping her set up, break down, really just enjoying her events. And one day she's like, I got a little gig at this little wine bar in Tower District. Why don't you drop a set? And I'm like, drop a set? Like, with what equipment? Like, I'll tell you what to play. Like, I'll give you, I'll tell you, this is a dope jam or whatever. She's like, nah, I got the gear. Come through with a flash drive or whatever you need, and we'll give you an hour. And
he killed it.
I mean, I can't remember what I played.
I remember what he played.
I know why you remember.
Yeah.
I know why you remember. I was nervous, but I invited some people. I don't know why. I didn't know how that was gonna go, but I invited my boy Ray, who was with Paul that night.
Yeah.
And Coop was there too, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, all of my close friends now were there, and we've grown a lot closer since then. But I played maybe 2 hours of music that night.
Oh, much.
And because so it was a light night, but I was just kind of learning the ropes, and I didn't know if I was gonna do it ever again. But I knew I wanted to get these songs off that I loved, and my friend D let me do what I did. And at the end of the night, I think this is kind of where me and Paul's friendship started, actually, because he came through that night and he was telling me that he really dug my set. And at that time, I had my set on CDs because of the equipment that we used that night with CDJs. And I was like, if you loved it, you know, here you go, you can have them. And I mean, I didn't need them, but I didn't think I was doing him a favor or anything. But, you know, he loved the joints, so I shared them. And that was my first time ever DJing. And I don't think I DJ'd again for almost 6-7 months, but it was at our event. So I really just, you know, I was like, okay, this skill is something I can learn. I've been wanting to do this type of event. Somebody gave me the motivation and the tools to start doing it. Like, it must be meant for me to do this. So I was like, I don't need to wait on anybody else anymore. I don't need to tell somebody, hey, you should do this type of event. I just do it. So that was late 2013, and second quarter of 2014 is when we got our first event up and running. So,
and it's amazing. Like, the power of music is crazy because, again, we had known each other a little bit, and he mentioned our homeboy Ray, who I was there that night. I didn't realize that was his first night DJing. Like, that's crazy. You were way too good for your first night, man. But
I was nervous as hell.
But no, you know, my homeboy Ray had invited me to play tennis, and me and him became tennis partners. So we would always be on the same team going against. We were Team Light Skin Supreme, going against some of our other brothers. But yeah, so when I got invited to that thing, and checked that out, and then he, like he said, he gave me his set. And I don't even think he played everything that was on the CD, but I took the CD and I popped it in, and I loved every single song on the CD.
Was on there.
And it might have been like 70 songs or something on that CD. It was crazy. Wow. But again, going back to the power of music, like I already felt like he was a good dude and good character and all of that. But once I heard like what his ear was like and what he was listening to, I was like, oh man, this brother got soul too. Like this is all the stuff I love. This, you know, and there was a lot of stuff on there I never heard before, but I fell in love with instantly, which made me like, yo, bro, who's this? And what song is that? And man, I'm gonna play that one, you know. So like, the power of music, man, it brings people together. And yeah, he's right. Like that, I think that night was really important in kind of like the foundation of our friendship, you know? Yeah.
I can definitely say for both of you guys, your music catalog is exquisite. It's deep.
Oh, man. Love, man. That's love. Appreciate you.
There have been so many songs you guys have played that, like, I go straight to Shazam, like, okay, what song is this? Add it to my Spotify playlist, like, right now. And also, after every episode, you guys have your Spotify playlist available. Deeply appreciate it, because sometimes I can't find it in time, and I gotta, you know, just get in that mood. So I like that you guys provide, you know, every single song out there as well, so people can go back and add those to the library as well.
And I think, like you said, man, because we started hearing about people Shazamming our tracks, so they would hit us up the next day, like, what was that track? And you would, you know, that sounded like this.
Or even during the set, like, yo, what was that?
Yeah. And, you know, like you said earlier, like, this was a new to the area type of event, you know, so people probably hadn't been able to dig as deep in R&B and soul music as we had, because we were just addicts about it, you know. And so instead of just listening to what was on the radio, they got a taste of something new. And, you know, I was like, okay, we got to share this with folks. So we started putting our playlists up, and, you know, they've been pretty popular. So that's pretty dope.
And I think there's a little bit of an art to that. Like, anybody can play the jams. Anybody can play the hits that everybody knows. But can you play a record that nobody knows and everybody's going to love?
Right.
Like that takes a little bit of an ear. So I think we both take pride in introducing folks to new stuff and putting them on new stuff. But I think as a DJ, nothing feels better than, you know, you got the party rocking and you got the house moving, and it may be a record that they've never heard before, but they're loving it. Right. And it's a record that you love, you know, like that's a good feeling as a DJ. For sure. Yeah.
If we're ever in the same car together, you guys both have access to the aux, for sure.
Hey, that's love.
All right, so let's
hear what you like, man. We might have to feature you for a Soulful 7. I like that.
You know, I like a little bit of everything. You guys put me on to a lot of new stuff, and it's kind of in line with the things that I enjoy as well. I've always enjoyed the internet. I came onto the internet late, probably maybe like 2 years after they had been out already. I think when Ego Death first dropped, I was like, oh, okay, what internet? I think I listened to, I forget what the first track was on the album, but I think I listened to it and I added the entire album to my library immediately, and then just played it. And I still play it to this day. So I definitely like the internet. Janae Aiko, big fan. I think she's on every single playlist I have, that exists. I've got a track from her on there. So I listen to.
If wifey loves her, keep her on every playlist, brother.
Right. We've gone to see her in concert twice. We saw her in SAC. We saw her at Grizzly Fest. We bought VIP tickets just to be in the front to see her at Grizzly Fest. So that was cool. Yeah. So it was lovely. But outside of that, I mean, I'm more so into the neo soul that we grew up on. I still got Aaliyah on my playlist. I still have music. I still have Erykah Badu. I do appreciate the OGs for the most part, but all the names that you guys are throwing out put me on to new R&B and soul that I need to check out. So as I'm going back and editing this, I'm gonna be searching the artists at the same time. But okay, let me get to my catalog.
And we send you a new playlist, bro.
No, for sure. So let's go back to the Chill Suite. Let's talk about some of the feedback that you guys have gotten. Obviously, I mean, people are showing up, people are dancing, they're having a good time, so we know they're enjoying it. But what have been some of the things that people have come up and talked to you guys about, or told you, hey, you know what, I'm loving what you're doing, keep it up?
What we hear is, I can't believe there's something like this in Fresno.
Yeah.
I think people are used to, events that don't necessarily cater to us and to R&B and soul lovers. So we hear that a lot. And then I think what helps is the ambiance of the venue, because it's just so well put together. It really transports you to a bigger city. So we hear that feedback quite a bit. I think we hear a lot of people is like, what? Do you guys DJ elsewhere? Like, where can we book you? That type of thing. I feel like that's a compliment because, our work was laid out in front of them and they decided that we were worthy of that. So I think those are two things that I hear a lot.
Yeah, I hear thank you. And that always feels good. Like, man, thank you guys for doing this. This is, this is awesome. And this is cool. And that, I didn't know Fresno had something like this. And that always feels good. And then we also hear this a lot, and it doesn't always happen, but, I'm definitely coming back, and that, that feels good too. I think, and Dennis touched on it earlier, it's just really hard sometimes in Fresno. It's definitely a family town. And I know now as a family man, like it's hard, sometimes you got other things going, other responsibilities and stuff. But, we always hear, hey, I'm definitely coming back. Right. And it feels good to see those that do, because we know they really, really rocking with us and they really, really appreciate what we got going on. I still wish we had more, though. I still wish we had more of those folks who, who say they love it. But, just show us, show us. Keep coming, keep supporting, because that's what we need. That's what, that's what fuels us to keep the thing going. So, yeah, man, that's a lot of good feedback we get.
Yeah, I agree.
I know, Dennis, you said that people ask, can we book you for other events? Let's go ahead and put that out there right now. Can people book you guys for other events?
Absolutely. I mean, we all three of us, and I include DJ 100K in this as well, because all three of us have stayed pretty busy doing events outside of the Chill Suite. I mean, obviously we have other gigs like full-time jobs, and, so as it permits, we've done banquets and corporate events and weddings and birthday parties and political, rallies and these types of things. So, schedule permitting, hit us up,
I'm gonna keep it 100. More times than not, if someone asks me, I'm gonna push them to 100. No pun intended, or push them to Dennis and say, yo, they're better than me. You should hire them. And it's really, I mean, as much as I would love to do it, it's more so I'm coaching and, then family. So life is just so busy.
Sure.
I can make time for the Chill Suite because I absolutely love that event, one. And then two, one of the things that I love most about that event is I get to play whatever the heck I want. I get to play what I like. I get to play what I'm feeling. If I want to introduce y'all to something new, I do that. If I want to play something slow, I do that. If I want to play a hip hop, like I can play whatever I want. When you on other people's time and on other people's money, you got to play what they want. And then it becomes work for me anyway. And again, I know Dan loves to do it, and Hunter loves to do it as well. And that's why more times than not, I'm gonna send them that way. I'm just so busy, man. It's so hard with coaching and everything else to dedicate more time than what the chill suite, is taking already. So, but nah, man, there was a time when I really enjoyed weddings and that type of thing. I just don't get to do it anymore, really.
Yeah. So how does it feel to be, a trailblazer ultimately with the Chill Suite, even previously with the Vibe Soul Lounge? And what kind of advice would you give to other people that are potentially trying to follow behind you guys?
A trailblazer. I never heard that one.
Yeah, I mean, let's call it a buck. That you guys are trailblazers. The platform didn't exist previously, so you guys are definitely trailblazers.
It feels good to create something that people want and people support. Like, that feels amazing because we don't do it for the shine. We did it again because we needed something and we realized that other folks needed it too. And to be able to do it for going on 6 years now and never have issues, and people hold us in high esteem because of the professionalism and the quality of the events that we have produced. Like, it feels good knowing our record is so clean. But I don't ever think about like the legacy or anything, because I'm thinking like, how are we gonna make it hotter? Like, what are we gonna do to take it to another level? I mean, there's this has been a few years now, but I mean, that's just how our minds work. We put on a festival together, Fresno Jazz and Soul Festival. We brought out Grammy-nominated artists, and had a full day of just celebrating R&B, soul, jazz music. So I think our wheels turning too much to really reflect on the trailblazing aspect of it. And what I will say that comes with that, is that there's people who try to ride your coattails a little bit, and maybe that's a negative aspect of it. And we don't have to touch on that too much, but that's what comes with it. Is like, when you're held in high esteem, folks want to get to where you are. So that's been a challenge in being a trailblazer, if that's what we call it.
Yeah. I would say one thing to focus on for sure is quality. In everything, quality and this is something again where it made it so easy for me, someone who's never done this type of stuff before, to attach myself to Yelo and really buy in like all the way, because it's quality in every aspect, from the presentation to the sound to the food outside to the we care about the product, and we want it to be a quality product. We don't want to cheat you in any way. We want your experience to be unique and it just to be quality through and through. So that's something that I think is important. Just don't cut corners. Don't try to really as much as you possibly can present quality. And then I think the other thing is just character. Like, I believe that God's gonna bless folks who are doing right and conducting themselves with integrity and treating people right, and not taking from others, and not when you have character and you have integrity and you conduct yourself the right way, doors open up for you and
So
allow you to be that trailblazer. And again, like I said, we weren't thinking about doing a live show or anything, and Fulton 55 calls us and says, we need you to do a live show. that's God, man. Like, you know, that's favor, man. So, but that goes back to the character and the integrity and the standing that we had with them because of how we conducted business with them and how we treated them and how, you know, we performed when we had our opportunities. So quality and character will take you a long way, man.
Yeah. No, I think that's huge to piggyback off of what you just said, Paul, because that character, that integrity, not to say that it's, you know, scarce in Fresno, but we do have a lot of jankiness that goes on, you know, in various outlets and various avenues. So, you know, I can't tell you how many times, you know, I've paid $10 to get into an event and it's not everything that they advertise it to be. You know, or someone's supposed to show up and then they don't show up and you pay $25 for it and you don't get a refund or nothing like that, you know, as a result. You know, Paul, you know, us having known each other for, you know, well over 10 years now, you know, Dennis, my sister, having known you, you know, for so long as well, we could speak, you know, to your character and to your integrity. And I think it made it even easier to hop on board with the Chill Suite and continue to support, continue to follow and all that. But you guys get people from, you know, all walks of life, all ages, you know, all races, everything that is, you know, just support you guys. They can see, you know, your character exudes. So I think it's easier just to jump on and just enjoy the ride.
Thank you. And I'll throw one more thing. It just kind of came to me as you were talking. And Dan said this a little earlier. Passion's important. And I think passion has to outweigh pay. There's many of Vibe Soul Lounges, many of Chill Suites, where we don't walk away with money in our pocket. Mm-hmm. We don't walk away with much of anything, you know? But that's not what it's always about. Right. Did we have a great night? Did we enjoy ourselves? Did we get some new people in the building? Right. Did someone, like, those things, you know, kind of have to be more important sometimes. And the money comes, you know, it will come. But you have to be, you know, you have to be really in love with the product, with the music, with the experience, and that has to be your pace sometimes. And we, like I said, early on, we had times where, you know, it was like, man, we got to take care of this and take care of that and pay the band and do this.
Run to the bank.
And yeah, Dan, you know, Dan sacrificed sometimes. Sometimes he was paying me for my little set out of his pocket. Like, and that was just love, you know. There was a time where I was living in LA, coming all the way, you know, to Fresno once a month to do the show, and then I'd have to hop back on the road sometimes Sunday after the show and get back to LA for work on Monday morning. But like, you got to be able to sacrifice and really be in love with what it is you're doing, regardless of what the pay looks like. And if you can do that, then I think eventually those things will come.
Sure.
You know,
whenever you prioritize the profit over the passion, it just unravels, and it's obvious. It'll happen publicly. You'll see it, and I'm sure you witnessed it. You know, when you're just doing it for the love of it, for the passion of it, you know, it can be upsetting if you have to come out of your pocket, but you got to regroup. You figure out, okay, what do we do different next time? How do we approach this? You know, to where passion will lead to something else. You know, or that people have a better time, so they want to come out again and again. So. I totally agree with P on that. You know, that passion really plays, is the catalyst for pretty much what we do as event producing.
What's up?
Yeah. So the quarantine has kind of slowed things down for everyone, or just say COVID in general has slowed things down for everyone. Do you guys have any word on when the Chill Suite may be back in person?
Well, we are kind of leaning on, obviously, first and foremost, the direction of the state, you know, because the phasing is up to them, but also of our partners at Fools on 55. We want to make sure that when we come back, it's not a risk, and that, you know, it resembles what we were doing before. Like, I would hate to do the Chill Suite and people got to sit across from the room from each other. That's just not, like, what we were doing, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it needs to really be
feel
the essence of the event needs to be very similar to what we were doing before. You know, I would love to give a hard date, but you know, we just don't know. So, you know, we'll try to provide some forms of entertainment, you know, virtually between now and then, though.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I guess when everything kind of goes back to normal or whatever our new normal is going to be, what are some of the future plans that you guys may have for the Chill Suite? Things that you can divulge right now. I'm not going to have you guys give away your entire blueprint, but is there any kind of bigger plans that you guys have that?
Well, first we want Sydney Soulful 7.
Yes.
we got to get that. So you start working on that now, man. Get your 7 joints lined up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm digging in.
Yeah. But you know what, man? I mean, I don't know that we've given it a whole bunch of thought, maybe damn more so than but I think we want to pick up where we left off. And when you take such a break like this, more than anything, it's just getting people back in the building and letting them know, hey, we're still here, we're still alive. Please, you know, come back out and keep enjoying yourself. And I think that's going to be the focus, is to really, really make sure that we're doing that. I'm excited personally. I got a good friend over at Barb's Soul Food. Shout them out. They're a food truck and they're getting real big right now, and they're wanting to collab with us. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we can make something happen with them. Good people that I've known for a long time. So we'll be glad to, you know, have them out there to supply everyone's you know, needs in terms of food and stuff. But yeah, man, it's going to be exciting just to get back in the building and get something going again, you know. For sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, straight out of Fresno, we're here for you guys. So, if you guys ever need anything from me, just reach out, say the word, and we can collab, do whatever you guys need to make your events happen. So, just say the word. All right. So, what do you guys think about all these versus battles that are going on Instagram? We got a lot of, you know, great matchups. We had Erykah Badu and Jill Scott. You had was it 112 and Jagged Edge, I believe. I don't even know if we should talk Babyface and Teddy Riley or not. But what do you guys think about these versus battles?
I personally love them. I'm a very competitive person. So for me, I like the idea of it being a battle. Seems like they start to kind of turn into Love Fest a little bit, and everybody's calling them a celebration. Right. But me, I got like scorecards out of like round 1 to Jill. Okay, round 2, 3, 4 went to Erykah. Like I'm real into it. I appreciate just, you know, being able to go through someone's catalog and hearing some of the great stuff they've brought to us over the years. Yeah. I get a little frustrated when they don't play the right 20, and certain artists may not have like more than 20 records to give us, you know? So like, if you got 15 great records, well, you should probably play all 15 of them records and then give us another 5 of your favorites or another, whatever. But like, I want the best 20 records you got, you know? And sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. But no, man, I've really enjoyed them. Babyface and Teddy Riley obviously was epic. The first time around, it was an epic failure, but then they bounced back.
Throw the tile.
Yeah. They bounced back. I was so disappointed that one didn't finish because, again, man, I had my scorecard out, and I'll be honest with you, bro, I had like 10 draws. Like, there were 10 rounds where I was like, I don't know, man. Like, how do you know, every little step versus the kissing game? Like, I don't know, you know. That's a draw. But
so many hits,
I think they got to like 17 rounds before they had technical difficulties and stuff. And I think I had like 10 draws, and then it was like 4-7. Teddy Riley was up $1. So I was like, oh no, this thing didn't finish. I need to know who won. Like, I was bugging, man. But another really good one that I think I slept on a little bit. It was a little bit earlier, but Neo and Jonta Austin, man. They had a really good one. If you haven't checked that one out,
I haven't.
Go back, listen to that one. Earlier, you said you got some Aaliyah in your catalog. You'll be surprised some of the records that Jonta Austin wrote for Aaliyah.
Right.
And man, like that was, I mean, Neo's obviously the more known name and the more known artist. I don't want to spoil it for you since you haven't checked it out. We'll go back and check it out and let me know who you thought won. But man, there's been some really good ones. I'm excited for Fab and Jadakiss that's coming up because I'm a big hip hop head too. So that one's happening tomorrow, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Monday,
which will be the past Monday once the pod hits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That one's, yeah. So yeah, man, it's been some good ones, man.
Yeah, for me, man, I remember watching I don't know why I tuned in to Timbaland's IG Live that first night. He was drunk. Swiss was in his Bentley or something.
Yeah.
And we're just going back and forth. And I'm like, wait, what are they doing? But like that's when Versus was birthed. And I was just like, this is actually a really cool concept. You know, obviously Timbaland's the king and Swiss, you know, he got some joints, but he ain't got nothing to prove with Timbaland. But he really put some great matchups together. Babyface and Teddy Riley was just incredible.
Incredible.
And I think for me, the one that I liked after that one that I thought was really great was Jill and Erica, just because that's my lane, you know. And every joint that they dropped was just like perfect, you know. And I think they had like 700,000 people watching.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, man. That out of all the ones that like really, really, really hit the numbers, it was Jill and Erica, man. They had more viewers than anybody.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what my theory on that is. Now that I've had a chance to think about it, is Black Twitter. Black Twitter is like a subculture of that app where we just like live tweet and live watch things together, whether it be Insecure or 5 Heartbeats. Versus came on, and that was for the culture. So I think that they had that whole population, that whole demographic behind them.
I didn't realize
I had to think about it a little more, and I just thought, you know, this is probably why, because we all grew up on this, you know.
I think one more, I mean, obviously the fact that they're the neo soul genre, I thought that brought a different demographic in and a different group of people that probably wasn't checking out some of the other ones. But they also, I believe, were the very next one after Babyface and Teddy Riley.
So that pub was crazy.
I think there was so much pub behind Babyface and Teddy Riley that it fed into theirs a little bit too, which probably helped out. But oh man, it's been really cool, especially during this quarantine when, you know, we don't got sports, we don't got NBA, we don't got anything. Yeah. So it's given us something, and for me, something competitive to kind of feed that little part of me that needs that. But yeah, I've enjoyed it, man.
It's been great.
Yeah. I know one thing that I personally love was kind of scrolling along IG and looking at the comments, and you're seeing all these other legends that are coming in and, you know, showing support and stuff like that. It turns into a big love fest, kind of like you said. But at the same time, it's just like, yo, like Maxwell's listening to this right now. Like Maxwell's following, like he's supporting you. So, I mean, Alicia Keys, you know, just all kind of names kind of coming in and showing their support is major. And I mean, not just in music, people of all walks of life, you know, actors, athletes, all that. It's just like,
everybody's in there. It's like a big family reunion.
Right. I think, you know, to Timbaland and Swiss's credit, they've done a pretty good job matching people up. You know, it's been, for the most part, people who make sense going against each other. Obviously, he said, you know, Timbaland and Swiss probably wasn't the best pairing. I would love to see, and I don't think this would happen since Tim went already, but Timbaland and Pharrell would have been
insane,
crazy. Insane. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what? I just came up with something to ask you guys, because I've been thinking about this over the past few days. If you were to have, and this is just, you know, your own preference, if you were to have one person produce one project of yours, who would it be between these four? Whether it's Timbaland, Pharrell, Dr. Dre, or Swiss Beats. Who you got?
Wow. Swiss isn't in the conversation with those other guys.
Right. like early Kanye will have to be the.
Kanye would be the fourth guy.
We can put early Kanye in. His catalog is heavy on the production level.
Yeah.
Woo! For me,
I'm going Timbaland personally.
I think I'm going Pharrell just because I like the quirkiness. Like I always love what he threw in. Like he gave us beautiful R&B joints, and he gave us bangers like the for the clips. Like he gave us Beautiful by Snoop, which is a gorgeous like Caribbean rhythm R&B joint, and he gave us Grinding. So I think Pharrell for me.
So you went Tim?
Yeah, I'm going Timbaland.
Went Pharrell?
I got Skateboard P, man.
You keep it West Coast in, man.
Hey,
no Dr. Dre, man. Honestly, that's like Luther, Stevie, and Marvin again. Like I don't know, man.
All three of them have just iconic sounds.
Yeah.
When you know who when they produce a track. It doesn't sound like anybody else.
I think the question I would have would be like, is this a hip hop record? If it's a rap album, I'd probably lean Dr. Dre. If it's a like an R&B album, I'd probably lean Timbo. I definitely go Timbo if it's R&B. If it's a mix or something, a blend of something, or a pop, maybe probably Pharrell. But
I guess it depends on what kind of project you're trying to put out. So if you're trying to put out an R&B project, if you're trying to put out a hip hop project, I'd probably do a combination of both. Not saying my vocals are there because they're not, but but neither of my bars. Yeah, neither of our bars if we're keeping it real. But I'd probably do a combination of both, and I think Timbaland would be the one.
Yeah, Timbo's
beats.
He's ridiculous. He's ridiculous.
Man.
Swiss had a battle like 4 years ago, maybe, with Just Blaze at his crib. I don't know if you saw that. They put it on YouTube, and it was kind of an unfair thing because it was at Swiss Beats' house. Swiss Beats had like the whole Bronx with him. The whole crew was in there, and then Busta Rhymes showed up and was going crazy with and Just Blaze was in there with a backpack and like a little homeboy, and so the hype wasn't fair. But man, Just Blaze had some things, man, and what Just Blaze did that was really cool is like he samples a lot of stuff. So he played the original record and then chop it and blend it and mix it and then he turned it into the record he made. And you were like, oh my God, man, how does he do this? Like, how does he hear this song and turn it into this song? So that battle to me was great. Like those were two producers that made sense going against each other. But I would love to see Timbaland, Pharrell. Everybody's talking about Dr. Dre and Puff. That would be insane, man. Puff's another one that, and he may not have been the guy on the boards himself, but he produced all the producers that were on the board. So, man, that would be insane too. But I hope that this isn't something that stops, once quarantine's over. I hope this is something that continues. And I also hope that, they don't like fall off. Like, I don't think the numbers have been the same for the past couple of ones. And I hope it's just something that keeps going and keeps building. So more artists will keep doing it,
Right. Kind of going back to what you said earlier, Paul, I think some people don't like competition that much. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, wait, if me as a rapper, you want to put me up against T.I.? Oh, well, I'm feeling some type of way. What if y'all think he has a, better catalog than mine? Right. I don't really want to face that reality. I want to just, have my fans kind of be in my bubble, for lack of a better phrase. I don't really want to be put out on, Front Street to be going up against someone that I consider to be a GOAT in their industry as well. I don't think everybody wants that competition like that.
No, absolutely. You're right. And you can see right away, like, is this going to be a battle or is this just going to be a celebration, Like Nelly and Ludacris. That one was a really kind of low-key good battle too. Like Nelly showed up more than what I thought he would because he hung in there for some rounds. But Ludacris showed up with like a mask on and like he was like you could tell like this dude was ready to battle. He's ready to go to war. So
man had outfit changes.
I think so. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
Wow, full on concert.
For sure.
Right, man.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I gotta agree with you guys. As far as your picks go for music engineers for your project. Shout out to everyone that's producing music. They're kind of the unsung heroes because sometimes you could have a producer with just a tremendous sound, trash lyrics, but we still love the song somehow.
True.
Yeah.
You can't have it vice versa where it's great lyrics and trash sound. Most people won't tune in.
It won't go anywhere.
I'll take it a step further than that. Some of our favorite artists have been trash when they're not with the right producer.
Oh yeah, huge night and day difference.
You know what I'm saying? Like I look at like a Mariah Carey. Anytime she gets away from Jermaine Dupri, it just ain't the same. Even Usher to some degree. Anytime he gets too far away from Jermaine Dupri, we ain't feeling it. Like it's like certain artists, you just need to stick with that producer because they got whatever it is that producer has them figured out and is able to give them the sound that they need to be successful. To really give us what we need. So
Usher's a perfect example, just like how he kind of stepped away from Jermaine and then now he's got that single "Don't Waste My Time" with LMA. It's a banger.
Yeah, sounded good again. Yeah.
Yeah, no more OMG.
Yeah.
But then once you hear in the background, y'all know what this is? Like,
that's right.
Like
exactly. and we know what it is too.
We're ready.
Yeah.
Straight up. Man. Yeah, so y'all want to get into anything else on these versus segments?
I think we covered it, man. I think we covered it, bro. Yeah.
Cool.
What was your favorite one?
What's that?
What was your favorite one?
Oh, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, by far. By far. I mean, it's just, and even then, I think I never really paid as much attention to Jill Scott as I should have. So, I kind of came on late. So I do have to go back. I do have to go back and kind of listen, from jump.
I said earlier in the interview, I think her first album is the greatest neo-soul album of all time. That personal opinion, I always go back and forth between that and D'Angelo's Brown Sugar. But if you want to start somewhere with Jill Scott, just go to the very beginning. This is the very first album, man. Like, she's different, man. Different.
Got you. I'm definitely gonna go back and, like I said, you guys inspire me to build my catalog and start installing some terabytes of music into my database. So
yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, we can do that, man.
All right. So I'm gonna throw something on you guys that we didn't talk about previously. I'm gonna play a little game with you guys called Crown 'em.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
It's gonna be open-ended, so it's not gonna be multiple choice or anything like that. We'll go over a couple categories, and I want to just kind of hear from you guys who do you think is the appropriate person for the title. So first off, let's start off with male R&B artists. Who's the best male R&B artist of all time?
Oh man, are we talking old school, new school?
Yeah,
everything. So if you're going back to the 60s, 70s, roll with it. If it's someone from the 2010s down to 2020, let's do it.
I already got my answer.
This is really tough. You go first.
I'm gonna give you my answer, and I think it's Stevie Wonder.
Stevie.
And I think I have a hard time going between him and another person who I won't say just in case that's who you're gonna say. But for me, it's Stevie, and I feel because he's driven so much of the culture of R&B and soul music that everybody has to say that they were influenced and inspired by him to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
It was pure, the songwriting was on point.
Yeah. It's hard to argue against.
Daniel could write a song about seeing how lovely his daughter is and he can't see is the king to me. That's just incredible.
That's good. That's good.
This is so hard, man.
It's very wide catalog, and they all got different reasons why they could be the best.
There was a guy who once upon a time called himself the king of R&B, and unfortunately he's done such horrible stuff that we can't even include him in the conversation anymore. But once upon a time he was definitely on my list. But he says Stevie I can't put Stevie over Marvin. I can't put Marvin over Stevie, and then Luther's in that conversation too. So for me, it's who I'm listening to, Marvin, Stevie, or Luther. I don't know who's better out of them. To me, they're the three best though. I know that's cheating, but like I really can't give you a guy who's better out of those three.
They all wear the crown on different days. That's all.
Yeah, no doubt.
So we can't leave the ladies out. Best female R&B artist of all time.
Oof.
Now we talking some great divas, some tremendous divas.
The first one and most prominent one that just comes to my mind immediately is Whitney, and like that's just all around package, just from vocal ability, which I don't think is touched.
Yeah,
you know, to her catalog, like I would have a hard time putting anyone above her. You know, obviously there's others though, and I'll just stick to that one. I know Pete might have.
No, I'd go with Whitney too. I think Whitney is probably the greatest voice, male or female, of all time.
Incredible.
Can't argue against them.
Other catalogs though, when we talk about Mary J. Blige's catalog, when we talk about Anita Baker's catalog, I think there's some other female artists that could compete, but not vocally. Like vocally, she's unmatched. So I'd go with Whitney.
And just to elaborate, not for you, but on that point, is like the fundamental like idea of R&B and soul music is a vocal like talent.
Can you sing?
Like, can you sing? Like, and we touched on that earlier. Not every R&B singer can sing, and that really goes a long way for me. And I feel like for Paul as well. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to group. Best R&B group of all time.
Male, female, or just
all of them. We'll bunch them all together.
You go first, man. You go first. Oh gosh, that's tough.
That's real tough.
The groups, man. I mean, you going all back to like the Four Tops, the Temptations. You know what I mean? Like,
see, and that's why I have to like separate, man. Like,
genre. I mean, the
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like,
okay, so let's talk. Let's talk the greatest of the modern era. So let's say from 1980s to present.
Okay. I would say Boyz II Men. I don't think there's a group that ever sang better than Boyz II Men, and the songwriting was amazing. I think the first two albums for sure were bona fide classics with hit after hit. But again, Boyz II Men was what I listened to at the house. And then I went across the street to Grandma Bertha's, and Jodeci came on, and I was like, oh, I don't know. So, but I'll lean Boyz II Men.
Gosh, well, since P went male, I think I'll go female just to spice it up a little bit. Like, and that's still just incredibly difficult. But
female's actually a little easier for me.
I think it's tough though. I mean, for me, it's tough. I think for me, I really love SWV.
And that's mine.
That's yours?
Easy.
And I just think that catalog and the collection of voices and how they complement each other is just...
Yeah, that's mine.
Like, that was just... I don't know, man. Like, I can't think of a girl group or a ladies group that just even comes close.
No, SWV for sure.
So...
That's dope. All right, this last one, it isn't going to be, the best. We'll just stick with your favorite. So your favorite R&B project of all time?
I like that question. Front to back.
And we can do modern era on this one too, if that's easier.
Damn, man.
I'm thinking of a few joints. Well, I think one of my favorites, my very favorites, is coming from where I'm from, Anthony Hamilton. And I think why it's one of the top joints for me is because it was like some kind of soul music that I ain't never heard before. Like you heard country soul in church. I ain't never heard like gritty, dirty, like heartfelt, painful soul music, and every joint on that album was just, we call them front to backs, you know, like just no skips. So for me, that's one of my favorites of all time.
It's so hard, man. I'm such a category guy. So like, if we go to pure R&B, that's a different thing versus like, to me, he just gave me more of a neo soul album, I would say. Sure. If it's neo soul, for sure, it's Brown Sugar.
Oh gosh.
And Who is Jill Scott? To me, those are the best neo soul albums of all time. And honestly, sometimes I lean Jill Scott. Who is Jill Scott is the best neo soul album of all time. But then R&B to me is like something else. And I have
real quick.
Yeah, Confessions could be in the cat. Again, that guy that we don't talk about all that much no more. He's got 1 or 2 or 3 albums that belong in the discussion, 12 play and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So man. I don't know. It depends on the category.
It depends on the day too, right?
Yeah. I mean, you guys did well, especially with me putting you on the spot. I think you guys, as soon as I asked the question, you guys went through your 3 terabytes worth of, musical catalog to go pick out, an answer. So shout out to y'all for that. I'll have to get you guys, I'll probably have to get you guys my tops later. Even as you guys are throwing them out, I'm like, oh, well, maybe they are onto something, so I'm like, well, let me back.
Don't sleep.
Yeah. I know I'm about to dig in right now. I'm about to go back to all your previous playlists, cross-reference them with mine, and make sure it's a worthy Soulful 7. It's gonna take some work. So
hey man, just play what you like. We rocking with it, man. Right. Whatever you feeling, we rocking with you, man.
Nah, I got you. All right, so as we wrap up, Chill Suite, where can people check you guys out at? Where can they follow you at?
Sure. The best place that you can connect with us is our Instagram, which is thechillsuite.ig. That's where we are the most active. We do have a presence on Spotify as well, so you can go back and check our pretty extensive library of playlists from going back to 2017,
sheesh,
2018. So there's a lot of playlists there. We do have a Facebook as well, but not so active. But that Instagram and that Spotify are the best places to find information for the Chill Suite and what's upcoming.
Oh. And when you guys are back, 2nd and 4th Wednesdays, right? You guys are live and in effect.
So we originally started with 2nd and 4th Wednesdays, had a little regular thing going, but we're a little more, I won't say sporadic, but more, how would we say that?
We blew up, y'all. No, we got to a point where Fulton 55 was like, yo, we want you guys on Friday nights. We think we can, pack this place out on a Friday night. And even gave us some Saturday nights. And obviously those are peak nights for them because that's when they can get the most people out to come to their venues. So we were kind of honored to be given those nights. And then it made more sense for us to take a Friday or Saturday night versus a midweek because we got more people there. So
just stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned because it's not it depends when there's openings in their schedule to some degree, but they're happy to give us any openings on those nights that they got, and we're happy to take them. So
yeah, well, all the more reason to follow you guys so that people don't miss a single event.
There you go.
There we go, straight like that. All right, Dennis, Paul, Chill Suite, appreciate you guys so much for being on.
Man, much love. Appreciate you, big dog.
We gotta get you a Chill Suite t-shirt, bro.
Yeah, of course. And I got some straight out of Fresno shirts coming, so I'll be reaching out to you guys to figure out sizes and what color you want and all that good stuff too. So appreciate y'all being on again.
Let us know.
Yeah. Got you. All right, y'all. It's been another episode of Straight Out of Fresno. Till next time. Peace.
Peace.